morning, depending on where you are. So thank you for joining again. And we have been, talking about what we have done in last 1 year from this QA community side, test automation forum side, our authors and the tools partners, volunteers, and our followers. They did a great job as part of bringing this forum to where it is today. We started 11, 12 months back with, few folks came forward and joining hands in terms of sharing knowledge for the QA community at large. And that way we all are connected. I'm so proud to have all of you in this session today as part of this first anniversary celebration. So thank you for coming in and, for being part of this celebration. So there is one more part is left as part of the celebration is the panel discussion, as you see on the screen, possible digital transformation trends for 2022 and beyond. So we have an amazing panel also today. So I'll quickly introduce the panel to all of you. We have Naveen. Naveen is a great community builder, and you might have seen Naveen being so active in terms of hosting the community called The Guiding Voice. He runs a podcast community, helping a lot of freshers and making them industry ready. And I and Naveen actually we started this at the same time last year, almost same time last year. And every every other day I keep seeing a lot of posts from Naveen. So Naveen, welcome. I know you will be a kind of great insight maker to this discussion today. So welcome again, Naveen.
Thanks for having me, Tri. Look forward for the conversation.
Sure. And I have Karthik, and I'm really blessed to work with Karthik some time ago. And Karthik is a great global leader and brings a lot of experience around digital transformation and helping enterprises to set up their digital technology platforms as part of their digital transformation journey. He's a great mentor for startups as well, and he helped. It's countless professionals. I think he helped them to lead, to grow as part of their career growth. So Karthik, welcome.
Thank you so much, Tri, and congratulations to TAF and you personally on the first anniversary. Wish you a lot more success and a lot more reach as you do this. And I think it's an awesome forum that you've pulled together. And the more and more, and I guess we'll talk about it later, but the more and more we talk about transformations, I think testing needs its own transformation to keep up pace with things, right? And by the way, so that's it. All the best, Tri.
Thank you. Thank you, Karthik. I appreciate it. All right, so we have Dr. Srinivas, and I'm sure he doesn't need any kind of introduction. Eminent engineer, as you see, the kind of recognition that he brings in, and he spent almost like his life on data analytics, artificial intelligence, and whatnot. So, sir, I'll not take much time to cover what you have done, but I can only do, I can say welcome and thanks for coming forward to enlighten us with your, great knowledge in data analytics, software engineering, cyber security, and whatnot. Welcome again, sir.
Thanks, and wishing all the best for the new year. In the second year onwards, I think 1 year is a great achievement. I think TAF will grow from here to heights.
Thank you so much. So thank you for keeping that blessing. So we'll definitely work with you to take to greater heights. Absolutely. With that, let me check if Suresh is on. Suresh, are you on?
Yep.
All right, Suresh, welcome. And Suresh brings a lot of expertise around cybersecurity. And I think we never met Suresh, but we were part of the same company some time back. But I know, your name comes when it comes to cybersecurity or information security and so on. So I'm sure you will bring a lot of, unique insights from cybersecurity standpoint to our discussion today around digital transformation for 2022 and beyond. So thank you for coming in, Suresh. All right, so with that, I think we can start the discussion. So, folks, digital transformation is kind of, not a new term. I think it has been discussed more often because we all are part of this transformation, right? Be it any industry or, be it any individual. I think without any kind of, digital technology in hand, I think life is difficult to imagine, right? Whether you are living in a tier 2, tier 3 city, or you are living in a metro like Delhi or Bangalore or Mumbai or wherever, I think life is really difficult without digital technology in hand. With that said, industries like aviation, pharma, or be it e-commerce, or anything like, your restaurant partners like Swiggy, if you are not cooking food at home, you need some solution like Swiggy or Zomato, otherwise you will be starving, right? So that is the kind of impact that digital technology will have if it is not there. With that said, I will not take much time because I'm actually going to have the esteemed panelists to talk about it. I will go to Karthik to know what his thoughts around where we are today in 2021 and what we have accomplished so far. And what are the challenges that we see, in the industry today? Are we ready to take the challenges for future as well? So Karthik, would you like to throw some light from your past experience? What are the ups and downs, or what is the journey so far? If you can give us a brief insight around that, that would be really
Sure.
great thing to start.
I think digital transformation, the terminology, the coining of it, etc., was a very enterprise-driven story when it started off, right? It was more to business or an enterprise to enterprise kind of story. And that's the path we were running maybe until 5 years ago, probably, where the bigger focus was on enterprise to enterprise transformations driven through technology, right? But I think then in the last 5 years, with the advent of business models also changing and things coming, it's direct to customer becoming a bigger thing and kind of evolution towards it. I think digital transformation started to engulf our day-to-day story. And I think today, from an enterprise standpoint, I would probably say it's like the 30, 70, 10 kind of rule. 30% of the industry is probably ahead and leading. 70% are on their journey. They've started off maybe somewhere halfway or beyond that. And then there's the 10% who's just probably looking into it from an enterprise standpoint. But I think from a direct to customer perspective or entering our day-to-day lives, it's probably still at the 30% range, 30, 40% range. And there's a huge pathway forward as to how digital transformation can get literally everything around you connected and working for you. I think that's kind of where we are today.
I absolutely agree. I was reading another article that says around 6.5 billion of world population have now access to smartphones. And you were saying 30% of direct to customer is done, and we have huge opportunities. So I can definitely link or correlate these two things. Thank you, Karthik, for that insight. So with that, I would like to hear from Dr. Srinivas on what he thinks, where we are today, and what we can expect in the coming days.
Yeah, so I think I will take a slightly longer term historical perspective of, let us say, in our daily life, how we have used bank. In my parents' days, there used to be something called a passbook. I don't know how many of us even remember a passbook, right? But when we grew up, maybe we didn't go through the passbook era, but still we have been facing the era of ATMs, right? We can say we are the ATM generation. But when I look at probably the next generation, right, who are working with these neobanks, who are probably, managing things with no visit to a bank effectively ever, or ever even needing a cash. So I think that source of the power of digital transformation in our daily life is not, I'm not going to say about enterprise or customer, but it's about our daily life. And it's only going to go different. And let me take another example of, a very forefront industry of India, IT. At one time, before the pandemic hit, for a company to think of offering 2 days a week work from home, there used to be 1,000 policies. There used to be 1,000 security checks. One masterstroke of pandemic, 100% staff working from home. And today we are scenario where major companies across the globe are offering indefinite work from home. Imagine. So that's the power of digital transformation. Where there's a will, there's a way. And not to say that it is positive or negative, but I would like to say that overall, from an efficiency and productivity perspective, in any domain, I'm not talking on only IT. I can talk about retail. I can talk about healthcare. I can talk about automotive, I can talk about financial services. In every domain, digital has only brought about more efficiency and productivity. So what I believe is fundamental to our thinking is the technologies around enabling all of this are going to make, like Karthik said, D2C a more mainstream business. And in terms of even the enterprises, they have to really unlearn a lot before they come to the level of the fast-pacing technology adopters in the consumer space. It's happening, but I would say it will probably still lag the consumer space where major innovations are happening. Today, like example of the Swiggy you mentioned, I tell you another area which is very core to my heart, which is the concept of IT development, IT testing, IT services. Let me propose a very, very distant, not so distant future where the notion of a company hiring a project team with full-time employees for testing, full-time employees for development, design is going to go away. There's going to be a marketplace. Digitally, you find your partner and the service provider, and you provide a bidding also. Maybe there will be bidding platforms which will come in. And skills marketplace will probably be there where we'll provide virtual companies of the world which will develop solutions for you rather than having a well-defined, physical structures. So that's a big stake I'm talking about. But I see that as a reality because even in the companies which I work for as a customer, let's say railways, aeroplane, we are talking about digital twins. So what they're saying is, can we create a simulation of what is supposed to happen in the physical, in the digital world, and see what are the if scenarios, etc. So digital is here. It will disrupt many industries. Already we're saying IT services itself getting disrupted. We will see major services like banks. I'm betting that there is going to be a huge, disruption where the big guys don't even know what has hit them when these new banks take over with absolutely modern Gen Z friendly services with no visit to the bank, no need for cash, and all the entire ecosystem. And I would also proudly say one more thing. India is the leader. It's not the US where still checks are used to sign. India is the leader in digital transactions. So that's my thought, that we are in an irreversible journey of digital transformation across verticals, even promising a very disruptive to be vertical process, which you may not even have thought about. That's my take on this whole.
Thank you very much. I think you covered the entire breadth of it. So thank you, sir. And I'll go to the next panelist, maybe Naveen. Probably you can share your thoughts. Karthik talked about enterprise to enterprise and direct to customer. Dr. Srinivas mentioned, how digital is the accelerator for, all these industry domains. And India is the leader. And we live in the current times where, we have some limited amount of talent in the market. So, and you are working with those young talents. They're getting ready to come to support and being as part of this, digital technology journey. So what you think digital transformation to you and to your journey?
Yeah, first thing that comes to my mind is there is a cartoon out there which mentioned who accelerated this digital transformation. Was it the chief digital officer or the chief information officer or the CEO or the COVID? Unfortunately, the answer is COVID. But I think we were compelled to drive and accelerate these particular efforts. Rather, companies would have been proactive. And however, customer has been one of the main stakeholder in this overall transformation, and customer has got a lot of benefit out of it. But from the company's perspective, acquiring a new customer and retaining them is going to become a challenge as part of the digital transformation. Because if we look at some of the trends that are budding today, it's more around as a service. Initially, it started with the cloud, wherein infrastructure was given or provided as a service, followed by platform as a service, and then software as a service. And now it's going to be everything as a service. And digital transformation actually has given a lot of opportunities to some of the unsung heroes. Like if you look at the recent unicorns, okay, which have surfaced in Indian market, right? Mensa brands, I think they're the fastest unicorn to become, and it was led by a few of the folks from ex-Mintra and ex-Flipkart and all, right? Why is this happening? because of access to technology, and which was again propelled by the digital transformation. So I would say it is going to benefit the customers, but it is going to be a tough time for the companies in order to retain the customers and acquire new customers. And probably I'll talk about what the young generation should do and what are some of the gaps that the academia or the universities should focus in the next round of discussion. But I would say the future is very bright, competitive, disruptive, and it's all about how you can think out of the box and come up with a digital solution for anything that is existing offline. Because there is, again, I would like to burst a myth. People are already in the misconception saying that if you're running an offline store and making it online, that is called digital transformation. No, that is not true. It is just that they're converting their offline to online, right? If Karthik, Try, you guys can relate to the digital twin concept, which was created in GE way back in 2012, 2013. We thought of, the company has thought of creating the replica of the wind turbines so that we can predict the maintenance, when is this particular part is going to wear out, or when it has to be replaced proactively, so that we don't run into the real failures, right? That is where the leveraging of data is coming into picture, and some of the disruptive technologies like Internet of Things, which is again fueled by 5G, which is going to be one of the most important factor in terms of taking this digital transformation to the next level, right? So definitely every person, okay, who is already aware of digital transformation, just let us retrospect. It is not just about electronifying something or converting offline to online, but digital transformation is something beyond, wherein you are putting customer at the center so that customer can get benefit out of the technology. So that's my take, and the future seems to be very bright. And I'm going to touch about that aspect in the next round of questions.
Sure. No, thank you very much, Naveen, for those great points. Future is bright and market is so much, everyone is excited about what's happening, and I absolutely agree with you. So with that, I think let me go to Suresh. So Suresh, as you can see, Karthik, Naveen, and Dr. Srinivas, they reflected on so many things are happening. Enterprises are involved, individuals are involved, customers are involved. So where security stands here, how you see security as part of this journey?
See, I see things a little bit differently. I'm sorry, but yeah, there was a time when the supply was high and demand was less. Hence, marketing was high and sales was making a good margin out of it. Time has almost got flipped opposite. Now the demand is high and supply is less. For example, I can give you a number of examples, such as now everybody is talking about greenhouse gases and all of that. We talk about electric vehicles, and I work with one of the electric vehicle manufacturers directly. The whole cyber game changes there. We talk about payment gateways, like Dr. Srinivas touched right chord. The payment gateways. If you see that the effect of demonetization has forced things move on to the payment gateways. You can see that a lot of fintechs coming up, and every one of them is successful. Why? Because demand is high. Yeah, because demand is high. We talk about a lot of things, such as data privacy. You see, hence the controls are more. It's all demand-driven market as of now. If I see, because the controls are high, the hackings are high. Again, the rules are new. The RBI is coming with every day the new norms altogether, how to handle fintech business. GDPR is becoming more and more important. Yeah, but that's where the cyber is. The cyber was supposedly be considered 5 years back as a support function to enable the businesses. Now it is not seen like that. It is actually the most important or indetachable element in the entire digital journey. The important piece is if we all have house help at home. If you guys go and ask them, password, or if you go and ask them, can I see your WhatsApp? You can see the reaction right on their face. That tells about how high the demand is and how well everybody values the data. Hence, the cybersecurity becomes really pretty, important. Somebody touched about the part which is called as COVID. The pandemic actually, taught a lot of things. So, for example, Naveen, the BCPT, that's business continuity plan. In GE, it is called as national disaster management or recovery management.
Yeah.
Now, here in any other companies, it is a standard which we call it as a business continuity plan. 100% employees at home. What does that mean? That means 100% chances of code getting leaked, 100% chances of everything happening. That demand raises a lot of new solutions coming up, such as soft tokens, VPN people just ran out of servers. Trust me, YubiKey came into the pictures just like nobody heard about YubiKey before. Suddenly you have hardware based encryptions. There's so many things are happening. I believe this is more an era of demand driven market than supply, and then give a taste of things to the consumers. Make sense?
Yep, absolutely, Suresh. No, thank you very much. So it is more like supply driven. Okay, so I will go to Dr. Srinivas again. So Dr. Srinivas, we as part of this IT and DT, we have seen from waterfall to agile to DevOps, and then we see autonomous, right? That's what a typical IT professional will see the digital transformation to him, right? If I don't go and have a perspective from customer side, this is how I see from my focus area perspective. So how do you see this is going to be influenced by the new technologies like AI or machine learning? We talked about IoT and so on. So what do you see the future would be as part of this IT or digital technology journey going forward?
So I'll present two angles. One is, like you said, there has been the project life cycle, right? They have been seeing transformations from, waterfall to iterative to agile to now DevOps. I would still say none of them said you give away QA, you give away requirements, you give away coding, you give away design and architecture. They're still happening, but in cycles. So what may happen is the ways in which you do QA will change, or the constructs you use as part of design or capture requirements. Instead of conventional large SRS documents, you will have simple user stories, right? So same thing, I think when you talk about digital transformation, I think QA is going to be there or coding is going to be there, but the structures for different transformations are going to change. Like, for example, I'll take QA because that's been a focus of this forum as well as interest. So to me, when a new digital technology comes up, the first few years are spent in getting the dev side of things, like how do you develop applications using the technology or in that technology, like AI or IoT, how to develop IoT applications. Or let's say today at a starting of the curve is like AR, VR, or some people are also talking about quantum, right? So people will first few years start to most concentrate on development of these technologies. But no sooner as it starts picking up adoption, QA also starts to emerge in each of these areas. So about 10 years back, nobody would talk about mobile application testing as an area. But mobile application testing is today a mainstream for all the mobile apps. It's only that you're applying intersection of testing applied to specific digital technology. Same thing, testing for AI. That's where I focus on. What are the quality requirements for AI and how do you test AI systems? So tomorrow, if it is quantum, you have to start thinking about how testing has to be done for quantum applications. So I think fundamentals of software lifecycle doesn't go away. Only thing is the techniques, trends that are required for each of the technologies evolves. And at the same time, one of the other things which is also emerging is how you can use these digital technologies to make these cycles better. For example, can you use AI to help bring better way of doing testing? So there is a lot of thought about autonomous testing, bringing more or less machine learning based testing. But I don't think it's going to be like we will face the issue of testing itself going away. The pace, the maybe level of automation, level of personalization, and maybe handling complexity of testing may be better with adoption of technologies like AI. For example, I think a classic example would be how you do, let's say, network appliances testing or network software testing. In the world of 5G, every path has hundreds of parameters, and there is no way you can have a army of testers go and write the millions of combinations of the parameters and test a 5G network. It has to be autonomous, built with AI-based autonomous engines which can test 5G networks. So as complexity of digital technologies also increases, I think we should also think about using technology for improving the QA process. So these are two dimensions I want to present, that the requirement for the life cycle phases never goes away, whether it is digital technology of yesterday or today. Second thing is we can smartly make use of the technologies for doing this in a better, cheaper, faster, and maybe even a feasible manner. Maybe I would say it may be, I would maybe throw my hammer around and say that in 5G network, it's impossible to do manual testing of the network configuration. It's so complex that parameters are so complex. There are so many parameters which you need to combination test. So I think both these options what I want to present. And I think it's going to evolve as we see more and more AI and these kind of technologies being imbibed into the QA process. Thank you.
Absolutely. No, thank you. That was a great example, sir, you gave. Like technologies like 5G and all, I don't think we have bandwidth to cover all the scenarios, either through manually or using the conventional automation tools. So definitely we'll have to take help of, something that is as capable as AI or, autonomous. I think the journey is moving towards autonomous from automated, right? So it was automated for some time. Now we are moving towards autonomous. I think that is the good way to summarize what you just said.
I would like to give one more phrase. I call it automating the automation.
Yes, automating automation. Yes, that makes sense. Absolutely.
And if I can chime in, this automation is more about something beyond automation, wherein it stops at abnormality. Like if I were to speak from my Lean Six Sigma hat, it imbibes this Jidoka part of it. Like in case if something has gone wrong, automatically the alert is sent so that someone who is responsible, they can take a look at it. And also on the testing of these futuristic technologies, I would like to cover 2 points because we haven't touched upon these drones as well as the autonomous cars. Drones were initially piloted in Telangana for this medicine delivery. Okay, but in fact, we have made a far better progress than anticipated. But one thing that I was more curious is how do we test these drones as well as autonomous cars during extreme weather conditions? Because we cannot simulate that extreme weather conditions. Say thunderstorms, hailstorms, or whatever it is. How would you do that? Probably the testing teams can focus on that aspect as well, because this goes hand in hand with the evolution of the digital technologies. Yeah, I'll stop here.
No, that's a great example, Naveen. I'm glad you brought that in. So that will definitely give a dimension to the QA community to think about how to approach testing, those type of advanced products, right? So thank you. Okay, so I think I need to go to Karthik now to see what he has to share from overall digital transformation side, not only QA, but how do you see like people can prepare for 2022 and beyond for digital technology professionals or IT professionals from career growth side? And since you have better visibility into what's coming up, so what would you recommend for the community to consider as part of the training or any kind of special attention to be given?
So I think I'll answer that in 2 parts. One, I still believe in the old school story of your foundations need to be strong, right? I think it starts there. So that foundation is your hardcore. Well, if you're a developer, it's your hardcore coding. If you're a tester, truly understanding your test codes and stuff and everything else, right? How you understand. So to me, those foundations never change, irrespective. Then you can build as fancy a house as you want. So from there, then the next step, to me, the rate at which technology is changing, I think forget 2022, stay up to speed as to what's happening today and what's changing today. I think if you do a good enough job of staying on top of the change that's coming today and maybe just tomorrow and literally tomorrow in a lot of cases, and if you're able to keep that abreast, I think you'll automatically, the technology in itself will take you to where you need to be next. I think honestly right now, follow that technology, whichever area you want to specialize in. I think that's the bigger challenge that I see with IT professionals today is the specializations have become so many, you're spoiled for choice and you don't know which one you truly want to specialize in. And that's where I think, and moving forward, that's what's going to happen to what Srinivas Garu said and Naveen also said about amount of thing. I mean, Naveen is talking about weather. He wants to simulate weather in testing, right? I mean, imagine something like that to happen. but that needs so much of specialization if you really want to get there. So I think that's going to be the other piece. So one thing, first is, as I said, your foundation strong. Second is just follow the technology, because the quantum of change that is happening is good enough to keep you going in the right direction. And the third piece, as I was saying, is you got to specialize. You cannot be, I think that old story of what I think to a large part, even I am more of a generalist than a specialist. I think the specialist stories is what's going to become bigger. And especially if you truly want to be a technologist, then that's kind of what you need to pick and start drilling into.
Thank you, Karthik. As I was indicating in the beginning, so in the market, there is a big gap of the right, talent versus the demand. Everybody gets hired, right? So you are talking about the foundation. Do you think people have really time to go and focus on, the foundation? So I and Naveen probably share some more thoughts around that. Almost all the, I would say level 1, level 2, level 3 engineering colleges, the hiring rate is above 90%, right? So, and good package, because market is so kind of, hot at this point of time, keeping the future technologies or future, the demand in mind. People do not have programs, projects, but they're hiring, thinking that we'll have certain things to focus on in 2022, right? So from that perspective, Naveen, probably I'll come to you. What do you see, what do you have to say to the freshers, how they should actually prepare for, the market in 2022 and beyond?
I was going through this World Economic Forum report. In fact, I've recently published an article in terms of what is the employability of engineers that are graduating, especially from India, and what is the quality of code that is developed by Indian engineers compared to Chinese engineers and all. The numbers are really surprising. If you look at the employability, it is about 3.8%. And when it comes to the niche technologies like AI, data science, which are part of the digital transformation, that is translating to 1.6 to 1.7%. And with regard to the code quality and all, Indians are having about 38% of core quality compared to Chinese, who are at 10.5%, right? That number speaks volumes about it. Our student and the young generation community, who are about to step into their corporate career, and if they wanted a long-term sustainable career, as I think Srinivas Garu has mentioned, right? We are in the gig economy. We are going to be, there won't be full-time jobs in future and all. And Karthik has also touched upon the specialist, right? That is going to become very critical. And for someone to be successful in this kind of scenario, focus on solving a real-world problem rather than I'll tell you one basic example. If you're working on an IoT project, don't think about turning on an electric motor, remotely. That has been a very old case study. Think beyond it. And if you're looking at drones, right? Think beyond sprinkling the fertilizers or surveillance of that particular crop. What else can be done? Maybe use drones, for example. Of course, again, I'm going back to the example of medicine delivery to the remote areas through the drones, right? That's an excellent idea. And at the same time, it solves the problem of that is prevailing in the community at large. So likewise, think about any problem. And in case if you are able to provide a solution, it need not be a full-fledged solution. Just come up with the POC and get the industry support. There are n number of startups. And today, actually, we are in the world wherein investors are chasing these startups behind, hey, I want to fund you, I want to fund you. Make the best utilization of that particular thing. All you need is idea, and merely having the idea is not enough. How do you execute it? That matters. And you don't have to implement it fully, develop a POC. And many times when it comes to these ideas, people think, okay, I had that Uber idea, I had that Swiggy idea a long time back, but why didn't you implement? Right? And let's assume you're coming up with some out of the box idea. People will make fun out of you. It's okay. Let them make fun out of it. You prove yourself, and then let the results talk about it. Likewise, I would say creativity and problem solving and innovation, right? These are going to be the critical skills. And even in the autonomous world, or in the world of, I would say, the 5G, as well as the autonomous cars, and whatever the drastic improvements are going to happen, and even if robots start taking over our work, something which robots cannot replicate is creativity and innovation. Be good at it, and definitely will stand out from crowd. And not only that, you can sustain for a long time in the corporate career. And most importantly, when you are building any product, right, focus about the sustainability, because that is going to be the next big thing. Everybody's talking about creating the products, but how environment friendly are they? Right. In case if you are using this renewable energy, biofuels, or something which is not actually harming the environment. And if you are building environmentally friendly products, that is going to again distinguish you from rest of the crowd. So think innovatively, come up with products which are going to be environmentally friendly. That would be my take.
Thank you, Naveen. I think you touched upon nice points. So innovation mindset, I think, would be definitely a game changer in the current market, as well as the market that we look at seeing in 2022 and beyond. So I'll go again to Dr. Srinivas, and maybe Karthik, you can probably jump in to share your thoughts. When we talk about autonomous cars, robots, and all, many people think, if all these agents are going to do the human work, are we going to lose our jobs? So what do you think, Dr. Srinivas?
Okay. I think I should go back to, early, I would say 90s, early 90s or late 80s, when Impress, the Indian Railway Reservation System developed by CMC, where I was working, was rolled out. There was a lot of hangama by rail union workers. Same thing in mid 90s to late 90s, when core banking was rolled out in some of the banks in India. There was a lot of bank revolutions. But where are they today? Today, hasn't the same family adopted electronic ticketing? Haven't the same bank employees gotten to use ATMs? It's going to be the same. So I don't see that as a different thing. It has been first wave, second wave, third wave. Like I said, waves of transformation of work cultures will change. So people will get displaced, but they'll retrain. But the people who are the best learners are the ones who will be the best servers. So learning should never stop. It's about transforming yourself within and being able to adapt to the new normal. So I think I would not be too much perplexed by this thought of, autonomous technologies displacing human labor. I think it may be thinking in terms of a better world. We may be relieving ourselves from menial work to do more meaningful work meant for humans. For example, I will give a simple perspective from India. If an AI-based radiology program can improve the effectiveness of a radiologist by 10 times, he can see 10 times more X-rays. Same way a doctor aided by an AI-enabled, at least some amount of diagnosis, his efficiency improves 10x. They can see 10x more patients.
Yeah.
And India, there is no lack of patients. Let me tell you, any improvement in efficiency is welcome. So don't think of that from that perspective that it's a job killer. I think it's a wrong way to look at it. Think about the ways I told you about the bank employees, or think about the railway reservation. These are two examples I can constantly quote, that if we didn't have it, if we are stuck onto those tickets, right, or stuck onto bank passbook, where would you be? So I think my argument is very simple. People who learn, adopt, are the better survivors, and ultimately everyone does it, either by choice or by just the way transformation becomes irreversible. So this argument is basically not tenable.
No, that's a great insight. So
I totally agree. I don't think, I think there's no other logic to it other than that, honestly. So it's just a matter of, that's the way I say that. Will we lose jobs? No, I think we will lose roles. The roles will be different. The jobs are going to be there, but the roles are going to be very different than what the roles we do today. I remember my dad was quote unquote a liaison officer. I mean, that role doesn't exist in corporate today in a lot of places. But does that mean there isn't a person who's managing labor relations and things like those? Absolutely, yes. But it's very different in the way it's done.
Absolutely. So people who actually focus on learning or adopting new technologies, new platforms, I think it would be easy for them to survive and grow. So I think that is the kind of bottom line message I'm getting from all of you. And Karthik mentioned about knowing the foundation. Naveen also talked about the similar lines, and Dr. Srinivas also highlighted learning new things. I think will definitely keep everybody on their jobs.
And by the way, that's also an age-old mantra, right? Always be a student, always be a learner. honestly, it's nothing
Absolutely.
stated. It's basically the perception, the view that we take is different because of the tools in your hand.
Absolutely. Yes, I absolutely agree. And this digital transformation is not new. I think it has been there. And the definition of digital, analog to digital, I think that continues with the transistor size becoming small and smaller. And now we can see probably 256 gigabytes of memory in a small chip. So, you can see the change, right? So, and new things are still coming up. So I think it will be going on. I don't know if Dr. Srinivas can answer or you can answer when it is going to end. Probably
What?
we don't have the the journey of digital transformation.
You're basically saying Darwin's theory should stop. Right? Transformation is nothing but evolving. You're evolving. You're evolving to your environments around you, the things that are happening. So today we are calling in our generation, we are calling it digital. Next generation might call it another name.
Absolutely.
But the transformation will still continue.
Absolutely. All right. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for all the great insights. So, looks like the market is definitely there for people who are willing to embrace changes, adopt new technologies, learn new platforms, technologies, and things associated with them. So keep learning and continue to excel. So that would be the message going forward as well. So panelists, thank you so much for coming in, and I really appreciate your time this evening. I know it's Thursday again, late evening. Thank you, Karthik, Naveen, and Dr. Srinivas. Suresh had to drop off for another meeting. He pinged me in WhatsApp. So thank you so much for coming in and sharing your valuable thoughts.
Thanks, Tri, and all the best.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Karthik.
Tri.
Thank
See
you
you again
thank
in
you.
the next anniversary.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Naveen.
Thank you.
Thank you.